And 3, 2, go live on YouTube.
Action.
We're live. Yes. All right.
Yay. Oh my
Welcome
God.
to
YouTube.
Love at First Laugh, the Green Room edition. I have two incredible guests. I love these two guys, Jason Stuart and Mitch Hara from the hit show Smothered. So there's Mitch on the right side with the green shirt. Hi, Mitch. And Jason is on top of me. So
yeah, he's on top of you. If we could put a man on the moon, we could put one on you, honey.
I have not been on the moon for a while. So anyway.
We'll work that out.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Thank you. I'll call you later.
Okay. You got all my numbers.
I do, for sure. And you got mine.
100%.
100%. From the get-go, you got all my numbers.
Yeah.
I know.
This is so exciting. I'm already tuning out.
We forgot to mention Jason.
Oh my God. Okay. So this is going to be a fun podcast, as you guys can tell. This is going to be insanely fun. So let's start from the get-go. You guys wrote the show. How did you get inspired? Are the characters based on you in real life or part of you?
Depends who you ask.
Okay, so who wants to answer that? We're going to raise hands today. Who wants to answer that?
Yeah, go ahead, Jay.
Okay.
You tell your version and I'll tell the true one.
Mitch and I met around 30 or 40 years ago. There's an argument about that. Where it's apparently specifically.
It was my apartment. What's the argument?
There's an argument about which apartment we met in.
Mine.
And what year it was.
Yeah.
I don't do years.
We met a long, long time ago.
100 years ago.
I think of it as a nightmare. He thinks that he doesn't even remember.
I don't even remember, so it doesn't matter to me.
That it happened.
Taylor Negron, brilliant comic, dead, brought him to my apartment, and I was flying around. There was 100 people. I had a huge Jew fro and a black cape, and I was smoking, and I was stoned out of my
Shocker.
My hair was parted down the middle and it was layered.
Yeah,
and
but you
I
come
saw
off
him
in one
and I
piece.
met him, and all I could think to myself is, I am never going to be friends with that guy.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No, for sure. And I don't even remember the encounter.
He was insane. He scared the shit out of me.
I still do.
And he still does. Yeah. He's never let me say more than 4 words in a row.
Yes.
That was 5.
Somebody call somebody. And so Mitch and I have been, we had been friends over the year, in and out. We'd go to the theater together. We'd go to the movies together. We would do projects. We would invite each other to be in each other's projects. And we had thought about the idea for a long time that when we argue, it's funny.
Yes.
So we decided together to create this series called Smothered. And Mitch, Mitch is very similar to his character in the show.
Oh, God. And Ralph
myself.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
Passive aggressive, annoying.
I can't with you.
He believes that
Put
my
upon.
character is me, but I believe my character is a character I made up
Yeah, you can believe anything you want.
to complement his character.
Yeah, the
I
delusional part is what he's really good at.
So it's kind of all about him, and then you adapt it to work around, kind of like
Always got to be about him.
It's always going to be about him. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
There's not a problem there.
No.
It's just for everybody else.
Yeah, it's like me.
Yeah, but we had a lot of fun making it. It's about these two guys who've
And
been
then here's Ralph.
It's about these two guys who've been in a relationship for 30 or 40 years who hate each other but can't afford
11 years.
22.
14.
19. 17. Okay, deal.
10.
12.
They can't stand each other and they can't afford to get a divorce. And like half of New York and LA and the world.
Exactly.
And the first season was basically establishing the characters, and they would go to different therapists. And as we were
therapists.
Yeah, crazy. And then as it went on and on and on, it became more intense and more dramatic and more on the line. And then I don't want to tell everybody what happened, but we wind up robbing a bank, going to jail. And that's when the second season starts, and which
3 episodes in jail.
Yeah, which became much more episodic in nature. And then
25 guest stars.
That was 5 words. You're right.
Yeah, I know. It's like, I'm falling asleep.
We have so many lovely people. We really had a lot of great people that came to play with us. We had Amanda Burst from Married with Children in the 2nd season, Ida Rodriguez from Fighting Words on HBO, Nicole Evans from Superstore, Jay Rodriguez from Queer Eye and Bros, Armand
Fields
from Queer as Folk, the new version. So we had some really lovely actors.
That's
They
amazing.
just came with all their talent and all their happiness and all their insanity, and they just loved the project. You know what I mean? It was all about the writing. And, you know, we just like, a lot of it we offered, and a lot we actually had them read. I mean, some people...
Some of the younger people that we didn't know, yeah.
Well, even Amanda, we wrote that. This is the only part that was actually written for a particular character.
Yes.
Was for a Black lesbo who was really intimidating. That was the only one that like had color or any kind of like definition. Because all the rest of them, men were played by women, women were played by men. The characters never had talent.
And
but I really wanted.
We really weren't that tied to a man, to the character being Black or whatever. We kept thinking it was almost like we had all these pictures on a sort of virtual wall, and we kept moving things around, trying to find people that we love and where we could fit them in. And I'd met Amanda a couple years ago at some celebrity kind of event.
Yeah.
We were the only 2 celebrities there with a drag personality. And we just became fast friends. And I said, hey, would you like to be in this? And she said, yes. And then I talked to Mitch and we got her. And we were so lucky. And she's in 3 or 4 episodes playing the head of the Gay and Lesbian Center where we actually live in the show.
Yes.
She's hysterical. And the bottom line, she actually had to convince me that she was right for it because I didn't want, because she's little. She's a little white girl. And I really wanted like a large, ethnic woman that we'd be afraid of. And she came in with this Southern fried shit, and she like brought so much to the part. And I was like, okay, you're great.
Nice.
Then we just brought everybody else. We just changed all the parts and made it more.
Like the lawyer was written for a male. It wound up being a girl.
It ended up being an Asian woman. And
we didn't change the names and nothing.
No, we didn't do that at all. Yeah. And then
this is mind-boggling because you guys, their dynamics is like it's insane and hilarious. How the hell do you write together?
We do this. We do.
Great question. And who writes the shit?
Originally, we would talk, and we would improvise and tell stories
and I have a photographic memory for all dialogue.
And then Mitch writes it down, and then he sends
I would write it all down.
And then I rewrite it, and then we get together. And we did it almost all on Zoom the 2nd season, right? I think.
Oh, wow.
So you were in Palm Springs.
Yeah, so the 2nd season was almost, I would say, all on Zoom. And then the 1st season we did we do this 1st season in person at all? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what we really, which we both wanted, we
did it a lot on the phone too.
That's true, yeah.
See each other that much.
A lot of talking, yeah, amazing. I'm sorry?
I said we can't see each other that much.
Yeah.
I mean, the brilliant thing about it is we argue about shit that we disagree on all the time.
Oh, no.
And it would inspire scenes.
Right.
And it was conflict. So it's genius because, Jason and I have a different point of view on almost everything.
Yes.
Like almost everything.
I think what the funnest part is when we really started rehearsing and we actually we rewrited while we rehearsed. And then when we created all new these ideas, we see what played, what didn't play, what was more interesting. We'd rearrange things. And Mitch was really, really dogmatic about that. And he pushed me because sometimes I would go, oh, this is good. And he pushed me. And he was very, very dramatic in that area for me. And it was really nice to have that.
So you guys really complement each other perfectly.
You brought it to the next. He likes a lot of dialogue. I like less. So we meet someplace in the middle. He likes a lot of adjectives. I like. So
I do.
I can see that.
Well,
I like to paint the damn picture.
Yes. So this I ask all actors, like, how do you guys prepare for the role? I know Mitch is it's you really, but still you have to prepare for the role, right?
Well, it's
Obviously.
dynamic. I mean, the second season, especially because there's a whole arc that these characters go through, and we wanted it to be more emotionally expensive for the characters and to have an arc.
Right.
So they grow, and even my character, who's caustic and lovably hateful, in the first season, I wanted him. We all wanted him. Me, Carlisle, and wanted him to be multidimensional and actually be human. And so I had to track his humanness. I mean, I just didn't want to be a quick quip. There's 9 different ways of insulting somebody in a loving way, in a cute way, in a cuddly way, and it's more fun for me. So, and there's some of the scenes like 7 and 8, I just knew what I wanted to do. I mean, I'm a emotional actor, and I'm kind of, what's the word? Not organic. Yes, organic.
Self-involved.
Yeah, and self-involved. Yeah. So he
It works.
really break my concentration.
What was really interesting, though, too, is that as we worked on it, a lot of times we would think one scene was one way, and then it wound up being another way. We did an interesting scene in I don't remember what episode it was, but we were just getting out of prison. And when we first rehearsed it, it was very dramatic and very angry. And all of a sudden it became this other thing with all this incredible loving behavior, but yet what we were saying was not. And it became really interesting. So our director, Carlisle King, really, really pushed that a lot with us. And that I so appreciated and loved doing. And that was really an enjoyable scene to do. And it turned out just absolutely wonderful. And there was so much interesting physical behavior, I think, in it from us and stuff, which you don't see in a lot of short form series. People just sort of memorize this thing. They do, establishing shot close-ups. Some of it was just one shot where we'd have it sort of a la Wes Anderson, and some of it was moving and tracking, and some of us moved it around. And certainly there was a lot of limitations because we don't have an incredible amount of money of where we could shoot. We had to switch different places at the last minute.
Yeah, but we shot at Sony Pictures. I mean, boo-hoo.
That's pretty cool.
But we didn't have a prison. We wanted a prison cell.
So we worked around it. We got creative, and we
got really creative. Yeah, and it turned out really wonderful.
Yeah, and what the scene you're talking about, exiting the jail, how we were doing it is really playing the end of the scene because we knew they were going to separate. But and it's one shot, which is genius, and that was Carlisle. She wanted him to follow us, and Hitoshi did not want to do that.
Hitoshi's our cinematographer.
He's our cinematographer, and he's genius, but he's very headstrong also. Yeah. And he wanted to set up. And she was like, no, I wanted a one shot from and magic happened. Yeah, funny things happen. He was doing that.
There was a hand sanitizer there. So I decided that I would, I've been in prison, so I'm going to wash my hands, and we're getting our stuff out of our
face. And it splatters in my face.
And he makes a funny joke. All these things happen. We didn't.
And while we're arguing, he's putting on my coat.
Yeah, and I'm helping him out.
And we're having a horrible fight at the same time, but not in a big way.
Yeah,
it's like normal.
Yeah,
and you don't know that I'm gonna walk the fuck out till I do.
Yeah,
that's what's interesting. Don't give away too much of the plot.
Just watch it. It's interesting. Who gives a shit?
If you want to see it, you go to smotheredtv.com.
There you go.
Smotheredtv.com.
So how did you guys distribute it? I know we're on strike and stuff, and
we can't talk about that.
We can't talk about it. Okay, so we're not going to talk about it.
But they'll see, they'll see it. It truly, and Mitch and I were talking about this before, it's truly an indie pop project. From the beginning, the money came from fans, friends of Mitch, fans of mine.
Wow.
People that we work with, people that are just...
That was insane.
Wow. Did you guys do crowdfunding? How did you work that out? You did that? Wow.
We just kept doing it. A really good friend of mine recently, Robert Graham, just gave us some money. And now we can pay for our film festivals, our award fees, and all that kind of stuff. Everything. People have just been so wonderful in that respect. And I was
I
very
mean, people that I just met and would tell them about the project and blah, 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 blah. They just wanted to support it.
That's amazing.
They gave
we got a lot of help from Erica Irving, who was in the first season.
Yeah.
From American Horror Story. She got us a bit of money. She helped out.
That was amazing.
Yeah, we were just like, oh my God, because her part didn't recur until the next thing. So we didn't have really a place for her. We were thinking, but she still wanted to help. We had some wonderful people in the first season too. Helen Hong and
Helen, yeah.
Helen's great. She's
yes, I love
Helen. From Chuck and Peter Dinklage. No, well,
I say it's Peter Dinklage, but it's
not Peter Dinklage. It's a wonderful actor named Pedro.
Pedro Moller.
Not Pedro.
But everybody goes, it is Pedro Moller.
Yeah.
But everybody goes, oh my God, how did you get Dinklage? And I was like,
he just likes us.
He liked it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I know.
So how was it? Because you are the writers and the actors, and then you have the director, right? Yeah. So if there was something that you guys thought it would be better than what the director was suggesting, were you just bold about it and didn't care?
I think there was an openness between the director, Mitch, me, and also the DP. Even though he says, but he was still, there was one point where I just didn't like the way the sound was in an area, and I said, I was very emphatic about it, and they let me, make sure that it was the way it should be. And so there was a lot of openness to that, because we're not just the stars of it, we are the showrunners of the show also.
Exactly.
So there's no room for ego. So Carlisle is genius because she has no ego. She just wants the best, whoever throws out the best idea, or whoever underlines or takes the idea and trumps it another thing. Well, okay, that's great, but what if this happens, or what if we come over here, or what if the shot isn't that way, or whatever.
Mitch and I so much. He would do something, and then I would build on it, and then all of a sudden it would become a thing, and there was in the end where when you hit my head or something, I slap you, and then which was in the script, I believe. And then, but the rest of it.
I wrote it in the script that you slapped me, and we had a fight just before the scene where it's the first scene of the second season, and we were arguing. And it was a hideous fight, and I called him an ugly name that he didn't like. And it was also we were Mike, so everyone heard it.
Real life.
I know.
We were saying he was saying he was being horrible.
I was not at all. He was upset because we were in this little room.
I wasn't upset at all.
Well, you want to do this on
That's not a word I have.
Why do you have to tell everybody everything?
I call
Why
myself.
do we have to tell everybody?
I call everybody that, and if you were in London,
I understand, but why do we have to tell everybody everything?
Mitch has no secrets.
None.
I don't want.
Zero.
It's not secrets. Just keep a couple things to yourself.
Why?
You can't.
I'm never going to have an ulcer. Trust me.
Right now.
I share everything.
I'm so broken from him. I'm so
anyway,
broken.
we screamed and yelled, and we had.
I didn't say a lot. I'm telling you, he yelled.
You just stewed like a pretty.
I did.
It was horrifying.
Think about what I'm going to say.
Where there's one time when he slaps me, he slaps me, and I slapped him back, and he said, "Just go with it." So I said, "Oh, okay."
Wow.
Then we added little things like that. We were always open to that. It also happened in romantic ways. There was some sweet kisses in one of the scene where he went to go up to work in the LGBT center, and I said, "Give me a kiss," and little things happened like that were sort of sweet, that showed the lovingness between the two of them. There was a lot of fun between them. We were eating, and I would eat off his food, and then we'd argue about that, and then we always let the scene go on, and we wouldn't end it, because in the first season we were improvising so much. It was so funny before and after, just because we were doing it to get in the place in the scene. And this time we made sure that everybody was quiet during that time so they could use something if it worked. So that was sort of wonderful too.
Plus our dynamic, as you can see,
very clearly,
we're all over each other, and it's like there's a dynamic that you can't make up. Do you know what I mean? Our chemistry is ridiculous.
It is insane.
Really, that's the best parts of the shit. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And we will trump each other.
Yes.
We'll surprise each other. I mean, in first season, he didn't know that when we were arguing, it was ugly, and I grabbed his face and I kissed him, and he was shocked to fuck. And then and I bit his lip or something, and he was bleeding. And then he went in for more, and I was like, done.
Well, because I thought that's the thing of the character. Even though he pushes me like this with his hand in my face, after the kiss, I go back for another kiss, which is crazy. But I think it showed the idea of the dynamics of the relationship, that this character, Ralph, was willing to take an incredible amount of abuse because he loved him so much and he thought they were right together. And then, which is brilliant, is we have one episode that Ida Rodriguez is in, where we talk about how we meet each other for the first time, and it's two completely different stories. And
it's my version, right? It's in split screen.
Hilarious. Yes.
We're telling the same story, but totally
different.
With different music and different colors.
And the natural inclination would be for the characters to go, well, you argue about it, but we don't at all. We go, oh yeah, that's the way it happened, and we're okay that we have different versions of this. There's a lot of stuff like that where they, if somebody actually tries to attack them in their relationship,
right?
What I noticed a lot after doing it is they will protect each other.
Yes.
In that sense.
That's when we come together. Yeah. Ralph and Randy go against who's ever attacking them.
Yes.
Which is usually a shrink. Because they want to kill us.
There was some fun shrinks this time around. It wasn't as much as before. They were much shorter. We had wig therapy and puppet therapy and exercise therapy.
Yeah.
Puppet therapy.
But it's much more, it's got way more story and way more characters and way more scenes. I mean, yeah, it's like 8-10-minute episodes, which is amazing.
Nice.
Yes. And wait till you see, 9 is my fave. I mean, 7 and 8. 7 and 8. We cut a whole scene out.
We cut one episode out of each season, and we put some stuff together, which is interesting. We have it both.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was reading it. I called Jason and Carla. I was like, this is not new information. It's hysterical, but it's not.
We all totally agree.
Right.
I was like, let's cut out 8 pages, and they were.
We were all thinking the same thing. That would happen a lot. Is that we would all think the same thing at the same time, and we go, that we're very in sync.
That's amazing. That's it's rare to be so in sync, right?
Well, we had 3 rules. One is that the show has to be good. Yes. Meaning we have to rehearse. We have rewriting.
It's not a vanity project for us.
Exactly.
It's not.
We wanted to create a real series.
And then the second thing that it would have to be fun, and it was funny. And then the third thing is that my name would go first.
That was actually the first thing. Jason wanted his name first as an actor.
And then he said, "I don't care. Do whatever you want." And then he insisted,
but I'm creator and writer.
And having his name first as the writer and the creator. Never even asked me, just decided that. And then and he but he said he didn't care at first. So if
I didn't care about the acting thing, they're going to see me anyway.
Oh, you did.
Oh, they're going to see you, honey.
It killed him after a while. He was dying inside.
Do you guys plan to write a smothered 3?
Well, if somebody would buy this goddamn series at a network, when this strike is over, we would be happy to do that.
It's already outlined.
Yeah, we could.
Oh,
we could,
nice.
Oh, yeah, and we have so many
really fast.
Just think of it this way.
It looks like it. Yeah, you guys are really in sync and fast, and
really
not
fast.
In sync and fast, right?
We're 2 old guys who have wanted series our whole life. Believe me, we started writing our own series when the Brady Bunch was on.
That's when I was 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
With crayons.
Yeah.
But my name was on the top during.
He wishes he was 6 then. But we I think the thing is finding someone that's willing to do that in a series that everybody. I mean, I'd say the reviews were shocking to me. That people.
Why?
Because you never know what you never know what. Mitch is different than me. I always wait.
I knew it.
I don't know it.
Come on. You know what's good.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't. Just because you think something's good doesn't necessarily
It didn't
mean
mean other people. Yeah.
that other people will connect with it, but
Right.
and want to be a part. See it as universal.
See, but I know that.
It is.
I already know that.
It is universal. It's a
I think so,
relationship.
too.
How many people can relate to that dynamic of like love and hate and arguing and then making up and loving each other so much they can't leave each other even though they're a pain in the ass to each other. I mean, that is so relatable.
The person you love is not necessarily the person you should be with.
I know. Tell me about it.
Yes, that would make it universal.
Yes.
And women really identify with this show.
I think people could, and I think if there's anybody on plausible in the comedy department that's a showrunner or has a connection to a network, they should call Leanne or Grace and tell us, and we should start working on it Monday.
Yeah, because the closer we are to death, we got to start moving.
Oh yeah,
gotta move fast, right?
I'm telling you, I don't got any time.
The runway has gotten very short. That's all.
I mean, let's get the fuck up.
Like an infinity pool, it's gonna end at some point, but you don't know where.
100%, and it looks really pretty till you're dead.
I know, till you fall over. Yes.
Till you're drowned.
Right. That's hysterical.
Well, I have to ask one quick question. Dave, who are you?
Oh, Dave. Yes, Dave.
Oh, put me on the spot there. Well,
Hi, Dave.
Are you a comedian?
I can be if you want me to be.
No.
Oh, he's flirting with you, Dave.
No, I just want to know who you are.
And is the boyfriend Dave's boyfriend?
I'm a friend of Grace's.
Oh, hey.
Well, thank you.
Hello.
So much. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, Mitch. Yeah.
Yes, and Dave, by the way, asked really good question. So maybe we should move in onto the Q&A. How about that? You guys ready?
Yeah, you can ask us anything you want.
You can ask us anything.
Yeah, I know.
I'm the top.
And Mitch will overshare. So
yeah.
Yes.
Don't forget, if anybody wants to watch the show, smotheredtv.com. Don't try to find it any other way.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's just
let's
not
even
cute.
discuss it. It's crazy.
Yes, that's how.
We're not going to.
Absolutely.
Smotheredtv.com. Go there, baby.
Yes, totally. So, do you have any questions, Dave, for Mitch and Jason?
Oh, I got Jason. I mean, I could get to both of them. Before I was doing the plausible thing, I was asking questions to Jason last time he was on. You call that Jason?
Yes, of course I do.
I'm trying to recall what was the music.
Why can't I see myself anymore?
Oh no, you can't see yourself. That's terrible.
Oh, honey, this is going to be so awful. The therapy bill is going to be so hard.
Oh my God, I'm going to have to call someone. I feel empty inside.
No, honey, you still look pretty. Don't worry.
Okay.
Don't worry. I can see you. Okay.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
We can definitely see you. Yeah.
Apparently, I'm not important. Go ahead.
So X in the top. That's where when you get out of that thing, that's how you.
Go ahead, Dave.
Okay, so Mitch, tell me about joining the Actors Studio. About that.
Oh my God, that's a good question. When I flew to New York.
What year was it, Mitch?
It was when the dinosaurs were crawling the earth.
And what year?
I don't do years, honey. What year did you go bald?
That's a long, involved story.
That's my Mitch.
On hair and
that's when I auditioned for the Actors Studio.
Well, you were
Dave, I heard about the Actors Studio because I was in this theater of arts camp. In New York. I don't remember how, but they said, "Oh, this was the place to go." So I was like, I knew nothing. So I memorized like the Catcher in the Rye or something.
He came from Chicago. He went to be an actor in New York. Tell them where you come from. That's why. And
he was asking about the Actors Studio, not my birth time.
I know, but people.
I mean, how far do we want to go back, Dave?
I don't know. Let's not go back to the
for fuck's sake. I was a breech birth. It took 20 hours to come out. I was coming out feet first. My mother said she'd never do it again. And then my sister and my brother were born. But the Actors Studio, I heard that you could just go audition and there was like a waiting list. So yes, I came from Chicago, blah, blah, blah. I ran away from home at 19, went to New York. So I went in, I think it was Salinger or something. It was the war before the Eskimos. And I memorized some fucking monologue, wrapped my finger up, and I'm crying and I'm laughing. And I go in there, and Shelley Winters is in there, and like Ellen Burstyn and all these people. And I finished, and I was like, hey, and I started to walk out, and they were like, Mitch. And I was like, what? And they said, we'd like to invite you to join the Actors Studio. So I was like, cool. And I didn't know that it took like 5 years to get in. Like people would like audition 5 years in a row and never get in. I didn't know. Like it was like the innocence of the ignorance of the innocence. Like I didn't know, so I wasn't under pressure, so it didn't matter. And I was just fearless, you know. And then I started working with all these people, and Al Pacino was in there, and Dustin Hoffman, and it was just amazing. And I didn't know anything, you know. It was the method, you know, that showering and screaming and doing 3 emotional memories at a time. And that was just that's how I broke my teeth in acting.
Nice.
But
That's the actual phrase.
In the program for Funny Girl, Barbara Streisand at the end would put it, because people in New York would say, oh, I'm a member of the Actors Studio.
Oh, because they rejected her.
So she would put, I'm not a member of the Actors Studio in her program.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bitter, maybe.
Thanks for asking, Davey.
You're welcome.
All right. Do you, Leanne, the boyfriend, or
who is
Joe,
the boyfriend of?
Well, Dave can ask another one if he wants, if he has another question.
Leanne, that's Leanne's boyfriend?
Yes.
How is she in bed? She sleeps.
I drool a lot.
Leanne, get it up.
So my question is, so it sounds like, I'm so glad you shared about the Actors Studio, because it seems like all of a sudden it just happened for you. But most often those things, success just doesn't happen for a lot of people. So when you think about where you are now with, you know, you're on Amazon Prime, you have this amazing series. It wasn't necessarily overnight. I know it takes a lot of work. How long has it been since you first had the idea and then bringing it to your first episode going live?
Jason?
What has it been, around 3 years?
3 years.
3 years, both seasons, yeah.
We started, you know, it's been ruminating for a while. We would like talk about working together, and we'd talk about, I always thought it would be cool to have like a Dog Day Afternoon, if anybody remembers that movie, with Al Pacino, where only our version would be two, you know, these hateful gay freaks that rob a bank to get away from each other.
Well, we wanted them both
to afford it.
But we also, if I remember, there was one incarnation where we wanted them to be sort of dumb. Like they were just sort of these dumb guys that weren't really.
Like Al Pacino, he's like in a flower box with a rifle in there.
Right.
Just like an idiot.
Yeah, the Wyoming. Where do you want to go? Wyoming. You know. So I remember when John Casale said that it was.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was it was an improv thing, and they talked about it. Yeah, so for a long time, I don't know.
But it's a road. Leanne, it's totally a road. It was like 3. Yeah, it was 3 years before. But the writing is fast, and once you get, you know, our chemistry is amazing. So it's using that, but it's like it's a long road to even get to that 3 years. You know, because you start making your own. Like when I don't know. It's been my experience, Jason. Maybe you were born here, but when you come from somewhere else, or you come from New York, it seems like you're busy immediately for like 2 years, where people want you and you're hot, and you like do a pilot, and you do a thing, and all of a sudden, shit kind of like, okay, you're not a star yet, and what are you going to do? And what do you know? If you can write, you should write, and then you think, well, why aren't they writing it for me? And where you have to get over yourself and continue creating, and then do theater, and then write stand-up, and then do plays, and then get produced. And it's like one building block after another. And then you get frustrated, and then you take 6 months off, and then you come back. I mean, it's like, it's never that, ooh, I'm a star. which is what you're
for me.
talking.
I think it was a little different. I was I lived in Los Angeles since I was a year old, and I was born in New York, but I lived here since I was a baby boy, and I never let go. I just never let go. I always created my own things. I always did. I mean, the first thing I did was, I remember they had the movie channel, and I did some interstitial programming called Jason Stuart Mania, and I had my friends help me put something together. I was always creating something. And then when you get into stand-up, you become so independent. I produced my own special. I produced my own CDs. I started making movies with people and shorts and all sorts of things. And for me, there was incredible highs. I've had just incredible highs in my career, and I've been lucky to work with, such brilliant actors. I mean, people and big movie stars. Everyone from Faye Dunaway to Oscar winner to Arnold Schwarzenegger to George Clooney to Damon Wayans to Angela Lansbury to J.K. Simmons to Bruce Dern. I mean, I've been so lucky. But my dad always used to say to me when I was a kid, when you go to the interview, what you need to do is you need to wear a tie and let them know you mean business. And what I took that to believe is to show up and be your best self as much as you can and keep showing up over and over and over again. And as I'm sure Mitch can commiserate with this, but for me, growing up in the 80s and being in town and being a gay kid, it was, people would tell you to your face, stay in your own lane, wait until you get older, you'll be a character actor, you're too light in your loafers, you're too this, you're too that. And I just put on these blinders, like a horse, and I just had my eye on the prize. And that's what I would do. But what he also said is right. Sometimes you're really hot. It's like you're holding a balloon and you're going, God, I'm hot right now. And,
right.
And then one day you look up and you go, oh.
You ain't got no balloon.
It's
gone, motherfucker.
And nobody tells you. You're still walking around like this. And you think, oh, God, I got to
No, they're all looking at you like you're insane.
Well, that's
right. Create a balloon.
Right.
You go home and you create a balloon and say, here, fuckers, here's my balloon.
Exactly.
Or you find another way in. I've never been a front door guy. The back door, the sliding door, the doggy door. Oh, dear. He's just a mean, bitter old man. Just a mean, nasty.
See, his father said, wear a tie. My father said, take Dexedrine and a bottle of vodka.
Keep the gun under the seat in the car.
100%.
Not your seat, the passenger's seat.
Yeah. If you got a gun, you're safe.
Yeah. No, but you just, it is. You just have to
We're just relentless.
You have to
Jason and I will not take no for an answer.
Right.
And I respect, that's one of the things I respect most about Jason. He will not stop. He will not stop. He'll bitch, he'll complain, he'll whatever, but he will not stop.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, they're not buying me here. Here's another path. You're going to find me here. If I'm not going here, I'm doing this. Then I can't get a role over here. I'm going to do more stand-up. I'm going to do whatever. I'm going to do speaking arrangements. I'm going to whatever. I'm going to put my mother on a thing. I'm going to, it's like, I
thought people were sick of me, so I decided.
He put his mother in there with a stroller.
Yeah, I let her discuss when my shows are coming up.
Well, now you're feeding her off camera. When am I on, Mom?
Right.
June 7th? What? What? June 7th.
Why are you yelling at me?
I would do it, but my mother's dead.
She's doing the takes, and she says things like, you better go. I'm not getting any younger. And if you don't go, I'm going to be so pissed off. Why don't you go? What's wrong with you people? And she'll go on. And then she loves to shop at Ross Dress for Less. So I take her around Ross, and she loves to act, and we'll do the thing. And she says, I'm only doing one take. I said, you'll do as many as I tell you to, young lady.
Oh, my God. You are tough.
She wanted to play my mother in Smothered. And I said to her, I said, Ma, you'd have to go to L.A. She said, Why can't they come to Palm Springs? You know,
Such a
and I have
diva.
to memorize lines. And then she said, well, why do I have to do that? I'm very funny. People like me.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Probably,
Now,
honestly, if she were younger, she probably could have played the part.
she definitely, yes, yes. But Jason, you know, did you ever get discouraged? And what do you do when you get discouraged?
Every other day.
Every Thursday we quit the business.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It
So
is
what do you do
discouraging
besides
because
filming your mother? What do you do to get back into that mood? You know, like I'm gonna keep
I
going.
sit with myself and I say, okay, what is it that I really, really want to do?
Mhm.
And then what really always happens, it always goes back to the same thing, is that I want to create different characters. I want to work with different people. Working
Right.
with people really turns me on. The idea of working with really talented people that I haven't worked with before, people that are on my bucket list. I mean, more than probably half the credits on my resume came because I wrote a letter to somebody and I said, hey, I really want to work with you. Or
Wow.
I followed their work, or just I went to a film festival that I knew they would be at, or I used to carry a little bag from Starbucks and it'd have my DVDs and my demo reel in it in those days.
Mhm.
And Happy Adolescents come in the back of his van.
You know,
You did do a whole thing. I'm the daddy and I have candy.
yeah, but I never said I'm going to take someone to the back of a van. What kind of thing is that to say, Mitch? Oh, God.
It's
Oh.
Mitch. Hello.
Shouldn't really be shocking.
No, nothing shocks me. Coming from you, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
No, but I would just, you know, the thing is that I always try to get better. Always try to play different kinds. I like being a character actor. I like to disappear if I can.
Mhm.
I always loved Dustin Hoffman. He's one of my favorite actors. I love Meryl Streep because she was always so different and everything. That's Philip Seymour Hoffman. You know, I just love that kind of acting. You know, not that being yourself in something is bad, because you know there's brilliant people like Spencer Tracy and and you know there were more than Katharine Hepburn and people that didn't change, but they were so interesting and so enigmatic and such big stars, and you love watching Humphrey Bogart. You know. But I always sit with myself and say, what do I really want to do? And it usually goes back to that, and I figure how do I sort of keep doing that? And I'm actually doing it now. During the strike and COVID, a couple of years, you're trying to figure out where do you fit in to the
Right.
fabric of what's going on right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
How-
Very
how-
practical.
Yeah, how will we make a living? How will we be able to work? Where will that be coming from? And I'm lucky. I have stand-ups. I have a second career, and I can always go do that to make money. And I just did a special. I just did one of those group specials with a lot of young LGBTQ comedians. I didn't know any of them.
Yes, because there's so many coming up that it's impossible to keep
Except
track.
the host, Jasmine, who was a drag performer, who's a trans woman who's just absolutely brilliant and a wonderful actor. And she hosted this show, and we were all friends, so it was fun to see each other. And then I didn't know anybody. It was really fun to meet all these new people. So, and it was fun to watch. I mean, every different walk of the queer spectrum was on the show. And it'll come out probably sometime later this year in some place that I can't say yet.
You can't say yet.
Well,
I know.
Well, we're in a strike, you know.
I know.
That's why theater is so great, because I love theater, so it's like that immediate thing. So I go right back to theater.
Yeah.
And luckily, you know, it's been very, like, I'm going to go to Edinburgh next year. It's just like,
I love that.
And I'll be there for a month doing my Mutant Olive. And
that's a solo show.
Yeah, my one-man show. And I'll be doing it in London. I'll be doing it in New York, Chicago. It's like, it's a little engine that just keeps going.
Yes. Yes. And it was so popular, your show. You got like packed audiences all the time.
Yeah.
How long did it run? Like 3 months? Or something?
Yeah. Like 3 months, sold out. It was amazing.
He was there every Tuesday at the Hudson Theater.
Yes.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
True.
Very funny. It was hysterical.
And dramatic as fuck.
Yeah.
It's almost really funny because it's to me it's like in 3 parts. It's sort of got a stand-up feel in the beginning, and then a funny bit, and then a sad bit. and it's
Yeah.
just it's like a 3-act play.
Like a roller coaster. Well, that's what you want to do in a solo show, right? You want to bring the
Exactly.
audience up and down, and yeah, definitely.
Kinda
So,
like
Would you call it semi-autobiographical? Semi-autobiographical?
semi-autobiographical?
Biographical, yes. Sorry,
Yes.
there's vodka.
Not
There's
semi.
vodka.
I mean, it was
it
3/4
is,
for
right?
real. It's intense information. My parents were speed-free alcoholics, and it goes downhill from there.
Yes.
But, yeah, but I mean, nothing's precious to me. My whole life is very colorful, and I keep using it in everything I do.
Absolutely.
That material. It's
Has
just,
your brother seen the show? Has your brother?
yeah.
And what did he say?
He said I wouldn't do that in front of people like that. And I was like, yeah, and I know.
Well, yeah, that's why you're not me. Yeah.
And my sister one day was in the show, and it's talking about how my mother's banging everybody in the neighborhood, and they're like contractors, and they're doing a fake remodel of the house, and there were contractors and plumbers and interior designers. And I said, and she was really sloppy about it. And one day, the same dude called 3 times, always with the same voice, but 3 different names. I said once he was Mr. McKechnie, and then he was Mr. Pena, and then I hear from the audience, Mr. Levine. And I was like, I hear Mr. Levine. I was like, okay, Mr. Levine. My sister was helping me
No.
from the audience, telling me who she remembered.
But it isn't him exactly.
Huh?
It's not you exactly.
Well, nothing's exactly. I mean, it's
Yeah.
the way I remember it, or the way I
Right.
want to remember shit, or dramatically how I think it'd be more fun.
But it's interesting. We talked a lot about that when we were doing stuff, because I had an autobiography that came out a couple years ago, and
Yours was you.
Yes, mine is about me, but it's the same.
Yours
sort
is
of-
Jason Stewart about Jason Stewart.
and it's called "Shut Up, I'm Talking" and available.
Well, there you go. And he looks, and on the front, he looks Amish.
Let me see it. Let me see it.
No, look at how Amish he looks. He doesn't have a button on that shirt.
I can't.
Oh, you're right. But what's really interesting is that when I was writing the stories and telling them, and working with the writer that I work with, Dan Duffy, I kept thinking, God, did this really happen this way, or is this just the way I sort of saw it? Because then people in my family would read it, they go, "This didn't happen." But every time I interviewed people in my family or people that I knew about things that had happened, everybody had a different way of looking at
Of
stuff.
course. Our
And,
realities
all
are all
of a sudden,
different.
it was so and so was there, and then maybe it was different. I don't know. And I've been telling these stories for so long. I started doing a thing called Coming Out in Hollywood and making it to the middle. And I used to do it in colleges, which you know a lot about, Grace, because they wouldn't hire gay or women as much as they would
Right.
hire straight men. So, but if you were doing a show that seemed somewhat educational, then they would hire you more, and I would just be able to be funny and tell stories and not have to be as joke. And I started doing that. And that's when I started doing those stories that came from interviews that I had been doing when I was doing press on things. And that's how it sort of evolved. And I'm probably going to have a 4th printing soon. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Nice.
I think the trick is to stay creative, because we are creative people, and just do whatever is stand up, acting, writing, producing, whatever it is, just keep creating. And that's the fulfilling part, I think, for people.
I
like,
have to, or my little soul dies. I mean, I have to create something.
yes, same here. I have to create something, whatever it is.
Well,
Yeah.
that's and people say, why? I used to take it as an insult when I was much younger. Oh, he works so hard. He doesn't, and it's all because I want to do the work. It's the love of the work. The older you get, the less you care about going to some great big party where everybody's yelling across the room to meet somebody. It's more, I will just look for one person that I want to have a conversation with.
Yes.
And not, and not have to worry about that. And someone that I think is creative and interesting that I want to work with.
Yes. And I think it's all about telling your story in this life, tell your story. That story helps you, telling your story. And also it might help other people that can relate to it, or, it resonates with them. So that's what artists do. It's just kind of like a healer kind of thing. Don't you guys think so?
I
Like,
love that. That's really my mission. I mean, I want to
right.
people with my shit, with my
Yes.
humor and my scars or my,
Right.
the shit that I've been through, because that's what people relate to.
Yes.
Your authentic, journey.
Yes.
And I love the effect, like, because the show gets dark, but I love
Yes.
the people's reaction and how they go on this journey, and whatever they've been through, they bring to the table. You know what I mean? So they're seeing my show through their filters.
Yes, through their reality, right?
100%.
Yes.
So they connect with it, and the way that they connect with it is genius for me. I mean, that's why I do it. So me and the audience can take that trip together.
Yes. Yes. Even though you're
so
the only one
exciting.
talking, it's like having a conversation energetically.
100%. 100%. And I have no fourth wall in life or in this show. I mean, the audience is in the show.
Yes.
And I love it more than anything.
Yes, it's a great feeling, to connect with the audience. It's just
it's everything.
And like Jason was saying, it doesn't matter if you connect with 20 people, one person, 2,000 people. It really doesn't. It's not about numbers. It's about telling your story, and whoever connects with it and heals from it or it helps them. That's it. End of the story.
I think the internet, for those of us who have been around, really was taught me a lot. About what people thought about what we were doing, or what, going back to one of the first films I created, a film called 10 Attitudes that I did, or other movies that I'd been in, or what people really thought of performances. It made me feel like, okay, I'm on the right track.
Yeah.
It gave me a really sense of security. I mean, I was looking up the other day because I had not read all the reviews of Birth of a Nation. And I did this film around 6 or 7 years ago, and I wanted to see. I thought I never looked up to see if I was in any of them. And then some people wrote some things about me, I guess, later on, and it was so heartwarming. People that had known me from other things, or people who didn't know me, or thought, oh God, the three guys that played the villains were great, or things that they would say. And I remember when I got the part playing a villain, which I had not really done a villain that was that awful. I'd done some rude people, but nothing really that.
No villains, yeah.
And that was really a high point in my career, and it changed a lot of things. And I'm incredibly grateful that I got that opportunity. I love working for a director that has a strong vision, that you find out how you work with him or her, and how you are able to sort of get there, whatever they're doing to help them with their story, what they want to tell. That's what I love when I was a kid, going to the movies and sitting there and being the character. I would pretend I was a character in the movie. When I was doing it, I would go through the emotions. And I still do it.
Yes. The emotions. I love that. It's a connection with the emotions also, not just the story. It's an emotional connection with the audience. And you experience that as a child with the movies. Anything artistic is about connection. And that's the magic of it and the beauty of it. I love it. So I'm gonna ask you the last question I always ask. Let's start with Jason. So Jason, what do you want to be known for in this life?
As an artist? I think what I always wanted is to be respected for my work, and that people thought that I did a good job. That's really important to me, and to make people laugh, to make people feel something. What I really love the most is for someone to go into a room, see a play, a movie, a TV show, and to see a story that they've never seen before, and let them change the way they think. Yeah, that's something that I love a lot. Yes, and in stand-up, I just like to have fun. So that's right, isn't it? I'm doing a lot of now. I'm doing a lot of stuff. Anybody wants to see my stand-up, they can go to jasonstuart.com, Stuart, and on the appearance page, you can see all the new stuff that's coming up in the next couple months, which is a bit. Excellent. Amazing. Right. And Mitch, what do you want to be known for?
As the whore of the nation. I really want to. I want to be known for inspiring people, you know, and if I can give people permission to be more of themselves by being as much of myself as I am to bring to the theater, because I run around in my car and I blog on
Yes,
shit,
I know.
and I love that people like identify with crazy shit that runs through my mind that I'm going through. So I mean, I love that. If I'm not a teacher, you know, Jason can teach. I'm not a teacher, but if I can inspire people by actually being who I am and being an example, if people get something out of that, then that's one of my mission statements. You know, I just want to inspire and elevate people to be more, again, authentic and to just be able to risk to be themselves, you know, that they are the best thing they've got.
Right. And not to be afraid to be themselves.
100%.
Right? Because a lot of people are
just
afraid.
Jump. The net appears. It all works out. You're not going to die.
Oh my God. I always say the same thing. Like, don't stress because everything always works out.
100%.
All the time. It's
walk towards it. Just walk.
Just walk.
It will happen. 100.
Yeah, I think it doesn't always work out all the time, but then you have to pick yourself up and you have to find another way to do it.
It'll work out better.
You think it didn't work out, but it was actually
but
better.
it worked out better.
Closed, so you find something better.
Thank you, Grace.
Yep.
Glass full.
I know we're on the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
And I love your TikToks and all the little snippets that you do because they're always so positive, you know, and they really do resonate. And it makes me happy. Like if I watch you on a TikTok and you say something silly or profound or both at the same time, I'm like, oh, this was good. It makes me feel good.
I think he gets way too much sun. He doesn't put enough self-talk. And nobody's going to, you know how many times
he's there's like stars for attention.
How many times he's crashed on his bicycle and he didn't wear his helmet. I'm always worried he's going to do something. He's going to break a hip.
You're hoping I break shit.
Maybe a way that you just can't talk as much.
I know, see?
Yeah. That's not going to happen because he's trusting the universe. So it's not going to happen.
100%.
100%. That's the way it works. Once you get that let go and just not worry because even if it doesn't work out, it is working out.
It's working out better.
Better, thank you, than what we think it's going to work out. You can't
hold on to your results.
That's right. You can't worry about the outcome.
No, just keep going. You gotta love the process. I mean, it's that.
Yes.
It's the cliche, but it's so true. If you don't love the process, then stop.
You're miserable 99% of the time. Be a plumber. Right? Yeah. You're miserable.
Yeah.
So just enjoy even like the bad things that happen.
I mean, look at you, Grace. You keep going, baby.
I keep going. Listen, I make cancer funny. So
no shit. And like, God bless you.
Yes. Well, I had to
hear that.
Listen, you can be, when I was diagnosed, I could be miserable, crying all day and feeling sorry for myself, or I could just be happy and say, hey, I'll go through this rough ride. I know there's light at the end of the tunnel. It's going to be there soon. It's just a matter of time. And I'm going to laugh all the way through. At the hospital and everything with my best friend, we were always laughing. People were like, they were crazy because we were just laughing about everything.
And you're a bright light, and it's brilliant for everybody else.
The nurse That's right. Wait, did the nurse say, bitch, you're crazy?
Yeah. Yes, they honestly thought we were crazy. But yeah, it's how you see things. Again, we create our own reality. Why am I preaching? Right. Okay, shut up, Grace. But anyway,
it's true. Your perception makes your reality. So it's like,
do you
see shit or do you see lovely?
That's right. You can choose.
You want to sit in.
That's right. You can choose which way to go. Absolutely. So, well, this was so much fun, you guys. Thank you so much for doing the podcast. Love at First Laugh. And if you want to follow Jason, what are your handles on social media?
Just go to jasonstewart.com, STUART, and you can get all my Instagram, my Facebook, my X, my TikTok, all of that is on the front page.
Perfect. And how about you, Mitch?
It's Mitch Hara on everything. And mitchhara.com is my website, but Instagram, mitch.hara, Facebook, I'm on everything. Mitch Hara, baby.
Awesome.
And on my fans only page.
You have an OnlyFans?
I do not have one.
You should.
But I am
It's
dating
very
one.
popular. You don't have to do explicit. I'm not kidding. There's a lot of comedians like that new comedian, that young comedian Mike Rife or Riff. I don't know.
Oh yeah, he does it. Well, he
does OnlyFans, and
yeah, of course he does.
Yeah, Whitney Cummings is doing OnlyFans because she can do more like risque jokes
Explicit
there.
shit.
Yeah, absolutely. So think about that.
Okay.
He's gonna do it.
I'm getting on there tonight. It'll be Mitch Hara.
Awesome. All right, you guys, thank you again for being on my podcast. This was so much fun. And guys out there, follow Jason and Mitch, jasonstewart.com and Mitch. Just put mitchhara.com. Okay, great. All right.
So where are they going to watch Smothered, Grace?
I'm going
SmotheredTV.com.
SmotheredTV.com. Thank you. All right, I'm going to stop the live stream, and I know how to do that by myself.